I knew this was going to be rough. I don't know, how the hell did I do this?
Today we're joined by the world's current number 3 ranked competitive eater, Geoff Esper, a legend with countless records and a reputation for dominating the toughest challenges. But this time, he's walking in blind. No clues, no prep, just raw skill. Let's see if his experience is enough when he's up against the unknown. Geoff, you've eaten 23 pounds of strawberry shortcake in 8 minutes. You place in the top of the pack at Nathan's every year, and you've taken on the craziest food challenges. How long have you been doing this, and what got you started?
It's got to be around 7 or 8 years now. I don't know exactly. I never really checked that. But I started the same way as mostly everybody that I compete with now started. They started off doing the restaurant food challenges. When the man versus food was popular, people started to do that, and they got into doing food challenges. And then they do local contests. Like, I think the very first contest I did was a taco eating contest at a local bar. And then you just do bigger and bigger contests, and then finally, if you get wrapped up into it big enough, you can go qualify for Nathan's, and if you make it, then you get to go to the big show, and it just snowballs from there.
I'm sure 8 years ago, you didn't expect to be ranked in the number 2 and number 3 spots for as long as you have.
I had the goal would be in the top 20, and then goal top 10, then top 5. Like, it just kept. Yeah.
I'm sure that one of the reasons you do consistently rank so high is the fact that you've got the full package. You've got the stomach capacity to handle insane amounts of food. You've got the speed, you've got endurance. Flavor fatigue doesn't seem to get in your way. What do you think your greatest strength is as a competitor?
Yeah, I think if it's a new type of food and no one's figured out how to eat it yet, I think I have an advantage. And if it's hard to eat, we just had a pizza eating contest, and the pizza was like eating cardboard. I mean, it was crunchy and hard. I did well. Like, my jaw doesn't give out and stuff like that too easily. So I'm able to adapt to foods that are hard to eat pretty quick, because a lot of people have to try to figure out how to eat it.
On that note, you actually don't know the specifics about your challenge today, but I've seen you eat anything and everything under the sun in extreme excess. But is there any type of food that does still intimidate you, or that you'd be devastated to find that you had waiting for you today?
Yeah, I'm not really a foodie, so I'm not really like an adventurous eater, so I'm not eating like crickets or raw eggs or anything like that. Very spicy challenges too would be rough. I don't like doing them.
Well, on that note, I think it's time that we show everybody what you have waiting for you today. This is one of unlimited identical trays, each featuring a decadent slice of triple layer chocolate fudge cake, a wedge of chocolate mousse cake, 2 4-ounce chocolate chip brownies, a Hershey special dark bar, 3 dark chocolate truffles, and a mandatory 12-ounce glass of chocolate milk. And we're gonna see how many of these you can take down in 20 minutes.
You guys, this is a lot of chocolate.
Yeah, it's not gonna be pretty.
No, this is gonna be rough. This is a lot of chocolate.
Yeah. Well, on that note, let's get you set up.
All right.
All right, Geoff, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Then let's get started in 3, 2, 1.
I'll try this mousse, right?
Three bites and that slice is gone.
I knew this was gonna be rough.
Now, Geoff started and is already crushing it. And here's where things get wild. Each tray is 2 pounds of unrelenting chocolate between the food and drink with no mercy. And we're talking pure chocolate overload. No familiar flavor combos, just chocolate on top of chocolate on top of chocolate. And he has to finish every single bite, including that glass of milk, before he can move on to the next 2,755 calorie tray. This is gonna be a grind.
These are really sweet.
Now, future guests will have the option to try beating whatever record Geoff sets today, or, like him, walk in blind to an all-new challenge with no idea what they're about to face. That means Geoff needs to put up an intimidating number in his 20-minute time limit if he wants to hold on to that record for as long as possible. But you may be wondering why we chose this exact challenge for Geoff. And that's because chocolate is notoriously brutal in quantities like this. The sugar, the richness, and the sheer density take down even the strongest eaters long before their stomachs actually fill up. And with Geoff being one of the best in the game, if there's ever a challenge to test limits and break spirits, this has got to be it. But with extreme eating brings extreme curiosity, so before we started, we had competitive eating fans on Instagram send in their biggest questions for Geoff. And now that he's already making some serious progress,
Geoff, we've got to know. Have you ever exceeded your own expectations in a competition and impressed yourself?
Oh yeah, I can remember when I won Hooters, the first time I won Hooters contest. They were calling, first place. They were calling like fifth place, fourth place, third place, and they hadn't called my name. I'm like, oh my God, I did worse than fifth. And then they said my name and then Matt Stoney's name to come up, like, because they used the last, first and second people, stand there to make it more dramatic. And I was like, oh my God, like I got second place. And then I looked over and I could see on the score sheet that I won. So I knew before they announced that I won. I was like, I can't believe this. Like, this is, I don't know, how the hell did I do this? So yeah, I can remember that, the very first time I did that. It was almost 3 minutes for one.
what on that tray do you think is going to slow you down the most?
This is brownies in this cake.
Let's take it back to long before you were beating Stoney eating Hooters wings. Did you always know that your eating abilities were above average, or was there a moment that you realized it?
When I was a kid, I could always eat more than my friends, for sure. So I always knew I could eat a lot, and it didn't tend to affect me as much as other people. Because I can remember going to, you guys must have been to Wright's Chicken Farm, right? Yeah, that's a famous place around here. Afterwards, all my friends would just be dead. They couldn't even move. They could barely walk to the car, and I'd be running to the car, no problem. It just didn't affect me. So I always knew that I could eat a lot, and I was good at it, yeah.
And how did those friends, or just people that you know in general, react when you first started doing food challenges?
As it got bigger and I started going to Nathan's and stuff like that, people were more curious. But like when you're first doing it and just doing restaurant challenges and you're first, doing a couple local contests, people think it's cool and stuff, but it's not, it's not that big of a deal.
Now you mentioned Nathan's and competing in local contests. When it comes to the food in those settings, do you ever actually enjoy it, or is it just all business?
Oh yeah, we had there was these at the Big E in Springfield, Massachusetts. We had these. They were cheeseburgers basically, but they were like sliders, almost a little bit bigger than a slider, kind of like a McDonald's-sized cheeseburger with these melted cheese and onions on them. Oh, they were so good. Just from the first bite, those things were good right to the last. There's been a bunch of like food that's been good. We've had, Qdoba burritos. So those were good. Those are the same ones you buy in the store that we had at the contest. So yeah, there's definitely some. Then there's some that you don't want to ever eat again, yeah.
I bet. Even when you are enjoying it, how long into a food challenge do you typically start finding yourself disliking the food?
I think the magic number right around 20 minutes. Yeah, but it depends on the food, how fast you can eat it too. But that varies too, because sometimes your body's always different, and sometimes it doesn't digest the food right away. And if there's a lot of simple sugars in it or something, yeah, 20 minutes you'll feel it. It's almost like a switch.
Seeing you just mentioned sugar, and this challenge certainly has a lot of it. When you're competing or tackling a food challenge, which is tougher, too much salt or too much sugar?
It's almost the perfect amount of milk with each one. Well, they're the same. The sugar's gonna hit you up front, and then the salt's gonna hit you in the back end. Yeah, you're gonna blow up. You could gain 10, 15, 20 pounds because of the salt, and you're just all blown up. And it just takes time for that to come out. You gotta get rid of the salt and make sure you drink enough. The sugar is gonna get in your system right away. I remember the very first time I did a birthday cake eating contest down in Florida. That night, I thought I had the full-blown flu. Like I thought I was in my hotel room, and I was like, how am I gonna get on the plane tomorrow? I feel terrible. I woke up the next morning and it was gone. It was just because of the sugar. That was the sickest I've ever been. I could barely move out of bed and stuff like that.
Wow. Well, having such intense experiences like that, do you ever burn out from competitions and challenges?
Oh yeah, I've done a couple contests back to back. That's too much. Yeah, especially now I'm getting older. It's I can definitely get burnt out. You just want to eat regular, because you're doing a contest, so you're eating huge amounts, and then afterwards you're dieting, and you're sick of dieting, and then you have to eat huge amounts, and you got to diet, and you just want to eat regular once in a while, and yeah, you definitely do get sick of it.
Speaking of eating regular, what's your favorite type of food?
My favorite food to eat is probably pizza, but I don't eat it very often when I'm not prepping because I'm always watching my diet.
Well, what about your favorite diet staple?
I don't know. I really like protein shakes. I do like them.
I'm the same way. But even when you like something, there can always be too much of a good thing, which begs the question, have you eaten a type of food so much in a competition that you can no longer enjoy it normally?
That's never happened to me. I can always go back. Like I've eaten, oh my God, thousands of hot dogs, and I still like hot dogs.
I'm assuming that's all from the practices for Coney. But beyond those trial runs, how do you prepare mentally and physically before competitions like that?
Well, I've been doing it long enough now. I really don't need to prepare too much. I just know, like, if it's a 10-minute contest at minute 8, I'm gonna feel like crap, and that's how it's gonna be. And I gotta keep pushing so I can beat the person next to me, because their feeling's bad too, and they're feeling it, and just whoever can take it the longest and keep pushing. Contests are it's just different. It's like a sprint. And you can't, there's no downtime in a sprint. You know, you do a 100-meter dash. You're not like, I'm gonna put like 80% in the first half and then 100%. No, you gotta go 100% the whole time. So it's rough. And you're doing so many things at once. Sometimes that time goes by really fast.
And you're competing against the best in the world now. But can you recall who the first competitive eater you remember watching was?
Yeah, it had to be the Nathan's contest on TV when I was a kid. Obviously, Kobayashi, when he came on the scene, that was big. Like that year that he did 50 and like blew everybody out of the water, that was big. Eater X, I remember watching him when I was a kid. I can't remember the exact first one, but yeah, definitely. I remember Badlands has been around forever. Yeah, he was always there too. So I'd have to say the people that competed at Nathan's is what I first saw.
And now it's you up there making it look easy. Speaking of which, was there ever a challenge or a competition that you thought would be easy but actually ended up being very difficult?
Oh man, there was like, I remember the first time I tried ice cream sandwiches. I thought it was gonna be easy, but yeah. Then there was a couple cold challenges I've done that I never want to do cold challenge again. There was like freeze pops. Oh my God, I thought that would be a breeze, but I got so cold. That was bad. It depends on too how you feeling that day. Like food affects you different as you feel. So you can do something one day and you like breeze through it, and the next time you're like, oh my God, this is rough. Yeah. So anything with peanut butter, I tend to have trouble with. I don't know what it is, the consistency or whatever. I have a lot of trouble with peanut butter.
Yeah, people dream of eating endless amounts of peanut butter, but I can also confirm from past challenges that it doesn't take long for it to get rough. But on the opposite end, has there ever been a contest specifically where the food was surprisingly easier to eat than expected?
No, because we practice. We know. Yeah, I pretty much know what it's going to be like going into the contest. We research if we can try to get the exact same food we do. If anything, it's a little harder because, like, I don't know, for hot dogs, for instance, if you practice hot dogs at home, your hot dogs are all cooked very well and the buns are all soft. Sometimes when you get to the contest, like a qualifier, the buns are just like they've been sitting out for 20 minutes and they're all crunchy and hard and stale. So not easier, definitely not easy. Definitely some contests where it was harder.
And what kinds of challenges do you find the most fun and the most difficult?
Pizza. I really like pizza. That's one of my favorites, especially if it's really good pizza. Some of those really big pizzas, they do a good job. You might think they don't, but they do good. And then you get the ones that are like real thick, like just like eating bread. You know, those aren't so good. But the ones I don't like, every now and then you get one with food. I don't like the like jalapeno poppers or something in there, and I just don't like them, you know, but you gotta eat them anyways because that's part of the challenge, yeah.
Do you have an all-time favorite challenge or competition you've been a part of?
I like to do the small town competitions. When you get to the big contests like Nathan's and stuff like that, it gets really hectic. And there's a couple other ones that there's a decent sized crowd and it's hectic and you're not really in control. People tell you, okay, you gotta be here and then you gotta be there. I like the ones in the small town where it's just like loose and you show up and the people are really proud of the food and they do a good job making the food because they're proud of it. You know, some of these bigger contests you go to and the food's sitting around. Oh man, I can remember stuff just looking at it, sitting out baking in the sun. I'm like, oh, we gotta eat that stuff now. Oh my God. And it's just sitting there the whole time. So the small town challenges for sure. Contests, yeah. When you contest eating, a pound a minute is kind of slow.
Let's say someone was spectating one of those competitions and was considering dabbling in some kind of extreme eating activity. Do you have any tips for prepping your body before tackling a massive meal?
If you're just a regular person and you've never done anything before, don't do anything different because there's not really much you can do. You can try to drink some coffee, go to the bathroom to help get some stuff out of the way, but besides that, don't try to starve yourself too much. That's not gonna work. Yeah, just go make sure you're hungry and as empty as you can be and just do your best and be aware that it's not gonna be fun after a while. people think, oh, I get to go eat as much as I want, and after a while, you don't want to eat anymore. So, and you just got to get over that and keep pushing. Or flavor fatigue. That's something also that people get a lot of. And if you can play tricks with the drinks, like drink water or drink soda or anything like that. But in the end, you got to eat everything no matter what. So you got to just get over it. And it's work. It's not like play like people think.
For sure. But do you have any unexpected methods for handling the discomfort of having so much food in your system?
You just gotta make sure you're drinking enough water. You don't want to get dehydrated. I remember when I first started, I used to suck on ice cubes because just to get some water in me, because you're just so full.
That's a good idea. But what about a dream food challenge? Do you have any?
Man, I think I did them. Like all the ones I really wanted to do, I did them.
And now added to a very extensive portfolio is being the first competitor on Extreme Eaters. But here we are in the final seconds, and Geoff is still fully locked in. He's staying consistent, but there's a tangible urgency. He knows the official total comes down to weight, and you can see the strategy with saving that last milk chug for the very end, maximizing every possible second. And there it is. His final push locks in an official total of well over 5.5 trays. What an epic performance.
But the real question is, will anyone step up to challenge Geoff's record? Or will future eaters take the risk of facing a brand new challenge without knowing what's coming? With every episode, a new competitor must decide, go for glory by taking down an existing record, or carve their own path with an unpredictable test. Which route will they choose? And who has what it takes to dominate the competition? You're gonna have to subscribe to find out.
So everything is chocolate. This is like chocolate times 10 chocolate milk even. Oh my gosh.